What is going on, YouTube? And welcome. It is finally here. Our MLB The Show 2024 Sim Cap franchise. I did this about 2-3 years ago. I figured I would bring it back. Here are the rules and just the way it's going to work very quickly before we get into it. You look at the content on the left side. That's kind of how the videos per in-game season are going to work. The rules in the middle, it's way too easy just to trade your way to a championship and pay a bunch of money for a championship. So I'm going to set a little bit of rules for myself. 150 million dollar player budget. I might put that down a little bit. I mean, still 150 is still pretty limiting, considering that if you're halfway good at drafting, you're going to have to make decisions. You can't pay everyone $25-30 million a year. Only one trade per season. So because of that, I can't just draft pitching in the draft, which is the easiest to do, by the way. I think everyone knows that by now. And then trade a bunch of pitchers for position players. I can only make one trade per season. So I have to realistically draft. And if I need position players, I have to draft position players and probably pass on some pitching. That's probably guaranteed to be better because that's the way it's going to work. Realistic trades, of course. I mean, I think that's a given. We all know the trading system is a little wonky. So when I do make my one trade per season, if I do, I'm going to make it as realistic as possible. I'm not going to take last year's number one pick for a bunch of, 2C potential players from my team. That's not realistic. Nobody would do that. I cannot sign any free agents. This franchise must be built on drafting and my one trade a year. So there is no FA signings. The CPU trading slider, as well as injuries, will be cranked down 2 notches. CPU trading is out of control. If you guys play franchise, I'm sure most of you do if you're watching this. And the injuries happen, but I feel like it's way too frequent. So we're going to crank that down. There's still going to be injuries. It's just going to be less frequent. And then, of course, the creative players. This is why I'm doing this. This is why we do this. There's currently, as I'm making this video, there will be 29 creative players from the Twitch community that we will put in here. A random team assignment. I will show you that throughout the video. A random potential between those two numbers, 8599. But all caps will start off the same. They're all going to be 18 years old, and they're all going to be starting at 70 overall. We've done this in the past where some were 51 overall, and they were in the minor leagues for 6 years. That is zero fun to try and watch. The whole point is to get to the major leagues and be able to watch your player in the major leagues. Maybe a year, maybe 2 years in the minors for some of these people if they get unlucky, but it's not going to be 6-7 years in the minors to get up. That's not fun for anybody. And again, this is open to everybody. At the end of every year, any new caps I have signed up on the Google form, which will be in the description, we will continue to add and continue to add. We'll see how long we can go, how long we can do this with your guys' support and how well these videos do. But we did this in the past, again, about 3 years ago, and I had a lot of fun, did about 40 episodes, and I'm looking to blow that number out of the park. So I appreciate you. Here is the beginning. This is what we're going to do. Now let's actually jump into the franchise creation, and we will go from there. All right. So I am a Mariners fan, so I will be using the Mariners. So we'll do that, of course. GM contracts off because the whole point, the whole point of this is to not to play with the Mariners. So we're going to stay with the Mariners here. DH, of course, extra inning, even though I don't like it, it is baseball. So we're going to keep that as well. I put everything to manual. It's what I like to do. It doesn't mean I mess with every potential injury, but every single part of this I will be handling. So we'll start that. This is going to be a complete sim franchise. So there's no condition set. We're not going to do any of this. And we are going to go into spring training. So let me take a peek here and just make sure that everything is as it's supposed to be. There's one or so. Let's just make sure. Maybe it was in the Rockies. Oh, shoot. Shooty McShoot. There is one player that I added to these rosters manually because I wanted to make sure that every single top 100 prospect was in here. But now I can't remember which one I added. But I will figure it out in a couple seconds because I know the name was Padres, not Rockies. Never mind. I was close. Not really. There he is. Okay. So as of April 6th, 2024, which is when I created this list, every single top 100 prospect currently in baseball is on these rosters. Now, MLB The Show alone, it did about 98 of those. There was only 2, I believe, that were missing. So I went ahead and added those myself. One of these being Leodalis De Freeze. And then another thing before we get into the caps, I did mess with my roster a little bit, although I didn't go crazy. I wanted to have the entire top 10 of my Mariners into the game, and they were missing 3. They didn't have Lazaro Montes, which is a right fielder, so I added him. They did not have Felnine Celestin, so I added him. And they also did not have Johnny Farmello in the game, so I added him. Now, I didn't go crazy with these potentials. I didn't backload myself. The highest I went was an 80 potential. And of course, you see Farmello here as a C. I wasn't trying to stack myself. These are the number 4, number 5, and number 6 prospects on the Mariners list, so they're good. But who knows? But I did want to have at least the Mariners top 10 in game. So I went and added that. So what we are going to do now is we have 29 prospects caps to add. This will be a daunting task for me to add. However, for you guys, there will be a lot of skipping around. You will only see the good stuff. But we do have 29 people to add. Or rather 28. My apologies. 28. Still a good chunk of people. So we are going to go one by one. On the screen, you will see which team they will go to and what their overall is going to be. I am going to go through all 29 quickly. And then I will go add them. I'm not going to add them one by one because I feel like that'll take way too much time. So what I'm going to do is I am going to physically just go one by one real quick, add them up, show everyone where you have been drafted to, where these caps are going, and what their overalls will be. And then I will create them very quickly. I'm not going to show you that whole process because, good Lord, nobody wants to see that. And then we'll go from there. All right, so this is the wheel that we are going to use. It is just kind of a browser source from a website. So once the team is picked, it's not going to be super centered on the screen. So I apologize for that, but we're going to do the best we can here, yeah? So we're going to start off with some teams here. So we are going to start out with Kevin Shepard II. Will be our first player here. We'll spin the wheel, see where they will land. Again, you're going to see it kind of wonky when it pops up, but it is what it is. Kevin Shepard II will be a Tampa Bay Devil Ray. And then what we will also do is we will switch. Actually, we will do all the teams first, and then we'll come do the potentials because that will be a lot better. Tony Cummins, next on our list. We will spin it again. Tony Cummins will land in Boston and will be a Red Sox. Our third cap, Antion Roussel, is up. He is a Ranger fan, and he will go to the Atlanta Braves. So not bad from these first 3 here. 3 pretty solid teams. And remember, guys, at the end of every season, if we have any more caps to add, this is the way that we will do it at the beginning of every single game here. So next up, Jim Edmonds Jr. These are all Twitch community created caps. You can add yours in the game if you want. There will be a Cincinnati Red for Jimmy Edmonds Jr. Hack Attack is up next. Let's see where he will end up. He is going to be a Houston Astro. We continue to move forward. Robert Jones. Let's see where he will end up. No duplicate teams yet, which is great. That's a Brewer. The no duplicate teams is great. Guys, remember, and if anyone lands on the Mariners, they will be my prospect. Just because they are my team, it does not matter. Tiago Suter is up next. Still no multiple teams, which again is absolutely fantastic. That will be Tiago Suter. Next up is Rendon, if he cared. One of our caps, Rendon, if he cared. And he will go to the New York Mets. Chuck Norris is up next. We're about 8 caps through. There's our first duplicate. 2 top prospects will go to Milwaukee. And it will be Chuck Norris and Robert Jones. Next up, Slobber Knocker. Where is Slobber Knocker going to play his minor league baseball? To the Cubbies. First one for the Cubbies. Fister Furbush is next up. Fister Furbush. Where will they play? And they will be my cap. Fister Furbush will go to Seattle. That is a primary third baseman with some other infield secondaries, which is huge because third base is a giant position of need for the Mariners, so that's great. Next up is my creative player, the one that I put in here, Jamison Cumbest. Oh, you heard it correctly. Jamison Cumbest the second. And he's mine as well. Let's go. My own cap goes to Seattle. What luck. Let's go. I love that for myself. Huge, baby. Huge. I will max myself out at 3 caps, though. So if any other team, they can get more than 3, but I will only have 3. So if I get one more, I will be unable to get any more. The Mets, that is going to be for Albert Pujols Jr. He is going to be for the Mets. Next up, Cody Brewer. Cody Brewer. Where is he going to go? Looks like he is going to go to Houston. We're starting to see some duplicates now. That's okay. That's okay. Joey Smoke will be up next. About halfway through here. First one to the nation's capital. The Nats will take him. We move on to Hugh Cox. Hugh Cox will be next. And just like that, the Nats get 2 back-to-back. Juan Gonzalez will be next up. And the first one to the San Diego Padres. Good on San Diego. Jack Meoff will be next. Where will Jack Meoff go? He will go to KC and play with the Royals. Big Papi. Next on our list here. Remember, we have to do all this, and then we have to do the potential as well. Big Papi to the Braves. That I believe is the second one for the Braves. Next up, Frank Reynolds. We all know Frank Reynolds. We love Frank Reynolds. It's always sunny, baby. First one to Baltimore. Frank Reynolds will be an Oriole. Looks like we have about 8 left to do. Haruo Teruno Fuji. Good Lord. But I believe I got it. Haruo will go north of the border and be a Blue Jay. Brian Simmons. Next on our list. He will be a Cub. The Cubs get their second one. 6 left. There are some teams that have none so far. That's just the way it works. It is by luck of the draw. Kyle Hart. Next up, he will be a Philly. I believe that is our first Philly. So Kyle Hart will be a Philadelphia Philly. Peter Griffin, which is my son's creative player. Peter Griffin will end up in Minnesota. The first creative player to go to Minnesota. Seth Ross, Nats fan, next up. Let's see where he goes. He will end up in San Diego. That is their second one. Jimmy Sweater Vest is next. He will go to Miami. They sneak out their first prospect. William Bianchi next up. 2 more left. And the first one to go to the Bronx Bombers, William Bianchi. And the final cap to draft to a team, Daddy McHomersworth, will end up in New York as they get their second. The final 2 go to the Yankees, William Bianchi and Daddy's McHomersworth. Now, let me set up the other one, and it is time to get the potentials. All right, the potentials are all set up. I will do this the exact same way. We'll start from the top, and we will go from there. So this is going to be Kevin Shepard. What will his potential be in Tampa Bay? And it will be a 93 potential. Moving on, Tony Cummins. He is in Boston. He will hit a 96. There's potential for a 99. This is Antion Roussel, one of the 2 Braves prospects. 98s for Antion Roussel. Again, the whole point of this for the Caps, as is for Jim Edmonds Jr., the whole point of this is for these guys to be technically the best players. Obviously, there's going to be some generational talent that will be found. But this is where we're looking for. Hack Attack is up next. Nobody has a 99 yet, and no one's down in the 80s, which is great. Robert Jones. There will be people in the high 80s, though. It's bound to happen. There's our first 99. And it's going to be Robert Jones. I believe it's a starting pitcher. 99 for the Brewers. As our first cap gets 99 potential. Tiago Suter will hit 93. Very respectable. Rendon, if he cared. 97. Hopefully he cares a little bit with a 97 potential. Chuck Norris for the Milwaukee Brewers will hit 94. Slobber Knocker, a closing pitcher for the Cubs, will be 91. Now back-to-back for my team. First one, Fister Furbush for the Mariners. What potentials am I going to get here? 86. I get the lowest one so far. Womp womp. Attempt number 2, and this is for my team, and it's my cap. Jameson Cumbest the second. 93. I will take that. Very respectable. Albert Pujols Jr. for the Metropolitans will be a 96. Cody Brever. He's an Astro. He's also an 89. Is where he will end up. Now back-to-back for the Nats. It'll be Joey Smoke and then Hugh Cox. Smoke and then Cox. 87 for Smoke. And Hugh Cox. And there's our second 99. The Nats hit pay dirt with a maxed out potential. Juan Gonzalez to the Padres will be a 91. Whoops. This one doesn't count. Hold on. This one doesn't count. I took out the 91. Whoops. Give me 1 sec while I fix it. All right, I think we're fixed now. I hit the wrong button, and the 91 disappeared, so that one didn't count. So we're back, and this is for Jack Me Off. Juan Gonzalez was a 91, and that's why I deleted it. Jack Me Off will be back. He will get an 88, so he does get a little bit lower because of the mistake I made. Oh, well. Big Poppy, and then Frank Reynolds are the next two. Big Poppy for the Braves will hit an 87. And then Mr. Poppy here for the Baltimore Orioles. The catcher will be an 88. So we're starting to see some 80s now. Still above 85, which is still great. Haruo Terunofuji, the lone Blue Jays, and he will get a 98. The lone Blue Jay cap gets a good number. Brian Simmons, the second one for the Cubbies, he will be a 93. Kyle Hart, and then my son's Peter Griffin are the next two. Kyle Hart for the Phillies will be a 96. For the Twins, my son's cap will hit 97. Attaboy, I'm proud of ya. Very proud of ya. Seth Ross Nets fan for the Padres. 94, very respectable. 3 more to go here. Jimmy Sweatervest for the Miami Marlins will end up being a 91. And the final two, William Bianchi and Daddy McHomersworth, both for the Bronx Bombers. William Bianchi, the right fielder, will get the worst one. Still an 85. But that's the only 85 we have. Daddy McHomersworth will be a 91. So there's our list. Those are our drafted caps. We know where they're going. We know what their potential is. Now, give me some time here. For you, it'll be very, very quick, a few seconds. For me, much longer than that. But let me get these caps going. Then I'll show you the roster. I'll show you where everybody is, and we will go from there. All right, we have made everything. All of the caps are created. Clearly, it took me longer. For you, like I said before, about 5 seconds. So we're going to go through real quick just to make sure everyone can see their cap. Again, I sorted this by age. And if I go team by team, remember, everyone's 18 years old, so it's very, very simple. Here's Jameson Cumbest and Fister Furbush. Everyone's going to be 70 overall. There's a couple people that only made 69 overall, which is a little weird because I made all of the attributes the same, especially for position players. So positions have a little bit of difference to do with it then. So a couple people were 69. Majority of us were 70, but it's close enough to where I'm not super worried about it. So there's Jameson and Furbush. The Rangers didn't get anybody, so they have no caps. The Braves got Big Poppy and Roussel. There's one of the 69s. You see it's an outfield. Exact same stats, but he's one less, which is weird, but it is what it is. The Marlins got Jimmy Sweatervest. The Mets get Rendon if he cared, and Pujols Jr. The Phillies get Kyle Hart. The Nats get Cox and Smoke. It's great last names, by the way, for caps. Cubbies get Slobberknocker and Brian Simmons. That's right. He's one of ours as well. You see a pitcher too. Same exact thing. Closers have a little bit of different stats than starting pitching. The per-9s are a little bit better for the closers. That's because their stamina is way lower, so I got to get them to be a 70. So closers and starting pitchers, we have a few of them, not a lot, but they will be 70 as well. So they're Slobberknocker. The Reds got Jimmy Edmonds. The Brewers got Robert Jones and Shucky Norris. That's another 69. Pirates got nobody. The Cardinals got nobody. D-backs got nobody, as did the Rockies. Dodgers got nobody. These are not any of ours. Padres got Juan Gonzalez and Seth Ross Nats fan to go with Ethan Salas as well, which is a real guy. Holy crap, Padres. Giants got nothing. The Orioles got Frank Reynolds. Boston, Tony Cummins. Yankees got Bianchi and McHomersworth. The Rays got Kevin Shepard II to go with their freaking top prospects. Jesus, Tampa Bay. The Blue Jays did get Teruno Fuji. White Sox got Suter. Again, another 69. I don't know why. The Guardians got nobody. The Tigers got nobody. The Royals got Jack Me Off. The Twins got Peter Griffin. The Astros got Hack Attack. The Angels got nobody. And the A's got nobody. So we are back to Seattle. So that's where we go. Clearly, if we look in here, because I had to change the potentials, it said there's a lot of negatives and positives. So this first year might be kind of different to see how people improved. But it is what it is. If we go look at the top prospects as well, there were, I believe I said 28 caps. Every single one is in the top 100. Because if we look at the very bottom one, which was William Bianchi, he was the worst potential out of our caps. He is number 92, which tells me that every single one of our caps are in the top 100. I will scroll through it up a little quick. So if you want to pause and try and find where your guy is, there you go. You can. There's Reynolds, Brever, Hack Attack, Jimmy Edmonds, McHomersworth. We keep going. Come best. And there's still some top prospects mixed in here from real life. There's Evan Carter, Paul Skeens. There's Ethan Salas. So Peter Griffin. So Teruno Fuji, Antion Roussel, Jackson Holiday is still number 3. Hugh Cox and Robert Jones are your 1 and 2 prospects in baseball. So those are the caps. That is pretty much going to do it for episode 1, guys. This was just a quick intro just to get all the caps on teams. The next episode will be really dive into the season. This is spring training. I will just skip to the regular season. From here on out, the other teams do whatever they want. So the caps go where the sim wants them to go. If they're not in the major leagues this year, they're in the minors. That's up to the sim. I will be handling my minor leagues, of course, so I can handle mine a little bit differently. But everyone else, you are at the whim of the simulation engine, so good luck. Guys, we will dive in a little bit deeper in episode 1 as we start setting our rosters going to the regular season, as we will check the Mariners and start pushing Seattle towards a World Series berth, which seems impossible because I'm a Mariners fan, but we're going to give it our all while paying attention to these caps the best that we can. At the end of each season, we will have what I'm calling a cap recap, which where one episode will solely be divided or will solely be set for just to look at the caps, see if they got traded, see what their stats were, see how they improved, and all of that. So we're not going to dive too much into that during each season, but at the end of each season, that will be our goal. We'll simply solely focus on the caps and where everybody went and what everyone did, the awards, and all of that good stuff. But for now, that will be it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have a cap in this series, I hope you're happy where you landed. If you're watching and you don't have a cap in this series, please fill out the Google form in the description, and we will get your creative player in for the very next season that I possibly can. And we will do the exact same thing that we just did for your cap. Toss a like, toss a sub, toss a comment. Let me know what you think about the series. I appreciate y'all. And we will dive in to the meat and potatoes of the franchise next episode.